break, page break, and you're going to go to page 3. Page 3 of your paper begins with the overall title of your paper. It is 2 lines, and it should look just like the cover page. Again, I have mine in bold. We'll be erasing the bold for draft 3. Underneath your title, you want 1 blank line, and then here's where you're going to write your introduction. Your introduction you don't have to have written until draft 2 because you need to understand what you're arguing. But for your first draft, I do want you to include a working thesis. So basically, what are you looking at and why? So I'm looking at the 1988 presidential election, focusing on the attack made on Dukakis by Bush. And then I'm also looking at military service and how the different political parties handle military service. When you're done reminding yourself what to write here, underneath that, this is going to be your first subheading. Now, this is where APA is extremely different from MLA because they include subheadings. They're like chapter titles. And this is a first level subheading. It's centered in the middle of your paper. Again, I'm going to have you bold it. This is where you're going to put your narration or your background information. It is due for draft 1, but it's of secondary importance, meaning I want you to work first on your rhetorical analysis, which is of primary importance, then go back and work on your background information. So go ahead and bold that and center, then enter, change your alignment again to left aligned so you don't have this section centered, and then go ahead and write this down so that you know what it is that you're going to be writing there. And then later you're going to come back in. This is where you're going to do all your background research about political events or the history of the time period or the biographies of the politicians, and it should have outside research and multiple paragraphs. Enter, center, bold, new subtitle, rhetorical analysis. This is of primary importance. And now we're going to do a second level subheading, which usually you don't do until you're in like more graduate level paperwork, but that's okay. Congratulations, you're in graduate level paperwork. So our secondary subheading for rhetorical analysis, we've got 3 commercials that we're analyzing. So each subheading for second level is all the way left justified, not centered anymore. It's like a secondary chapter heading within a first chapter. So I'm doing commercial analysis, commercial 1 analysis. I've got the title of my commercial, and then I've got my internal APA citation for the entire commercial listed in my second level subheading. And that is the last name of the person who owns it, followed by the year with a comma in between. So some differences between MLA. MLA requires page number or paragraph number if it's a direct quotation, or just the last name of the author. But APA requires that you have a publishing date included in there. And that's because for scientific research, the date is so important. So including the date is very important for you to have in your internal citation. So that's what internal citations are a little bit different. You'll notice in the rhetorical analysis that I started here for the major paper, I've included 2 other internal citations. Here is Schwartz 2016, and here is Hernandez 2016. That's because I've already included some information I've gotten from outside research into the rhetorical analysis. So here's my first commercial rhetorical analysis. When I'm done writing that, I do my second commercial analysis, and this one is going to be the Dukakis commercial. I don't remember what it's called, but I'm going to call it Comeback. That's not what it was. And because it's Dukakis and it's 1988, I have that behind it as well. So then I'm going to do a little mini intro to that commercial because I want to include like how Dukakis fired back against the commercial that was made against him. And then for this one, I'm going to do my third commercial analysis, and that one is going to be Mission, and that's another Bush commercial. And so again, I have the year right there. So I do each of those rhetorical analysis, then I have a blank line, centered, bolded, and for draft 2, this is where your argumentative section is going to be. And your argumentative section, we'll talk about it more for draft 2, but that will be the argument, either classical organization or Rogerian organization. When you're done with that, you're going to once again insert, break, page break. And here, the last thing that's different about APA format, for draft one, you're going to be working on a working references page. That's where you're just copying and pasting links. So this reference page right here, you're going to title it references. Difference between APA and MLA is that MLA is a works cited page. That means you only use on this page, the only things you should see are works that you directly cite and quote from within your paper. If you don't directly quote from them in your paper, MLA says don't include them. APA says you include everything you look at that's related to the topic of your paper. So whether you use it or not, you look at it, you think you might use it later, copy and paste for right now you're working, the link on this page. And then what I've done is afterwards, I've gotten some background, like I've put behind it, like in parentheses, like what that site is, so I remember what it is. So that's the basics for setting up your APA paper and some little information about what makes it different from an MLA paper. If you have any questions, make sure you ask me in class before you take the What's the Difference Between APA and MLA quiz. All right, thank you. Have a good day.